All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Legend of the Galactic Heroes, episode 21. All right, the rebels have been thwarted.
Yes.
Mittermeier's a badass.
Mm-hmm.
And
He is
Overlesser was
the
used
Chad.
by Oberstein.
Yeah. And now Overlesser is dead, executed as a traitor by the traitors. There's a lot of traitoring going around. Yep.
And there'll be more suspicion of traitoring going around even further within the ranks of the traitors.
Yep. Meanwhile, the traders keep, playing both sides.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that is where we are at right now. So will we continue the Galactic Empire focus or shift over to Yang? We'll see. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Alright everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion.
Okay.
Wow, they just did so much this episode.
All right.
Jessica's potentially, most likely, dead. Like 99%.
Yeah. Like she could always be alive,
right.
Because we don't have a head on a stake, all that stuff, right?
Right.
But
we didn't see her get shot.
We didn't see her get shot, right? And in the chaos, theoretically, someone could have helped her. She could have gotten out, right?
Yeah. And in the chaos, there's no way that they could confirm 100% who's dead,
right? Because 20,000 people died. You're not gonna have like checking dental for each person,
right? What it is probably is that there was a fire. And then when the mass of people left the stadium and the fighting ended, satellite imagery concluded that there's approximately 180,000 people still that left. So it's like, okay, that's a good way.
God,
there's probably some margin of error there, but okay. Not only that, let's go through this in order here. Shunkov committed a blitzkrieg operation to just wipe out any coup d'etat resistance on the Shempool.
Right, Shempool, which is a specific
key choke
point, right. Because Heinessen is kind of close to Iserlon, but there's an empty space in there, and that seems No. That seems to be what it is.
No. Iserlon is not anywhere. No. Heinessen is not anywhere near. Iserlon. We got a galaxy map here.
Okay.
What it is that Shempool is basically a key spot on the way back along the Iserlon corridor. So what I assume it is basically is it's like, imagine if Australia and the Risk Board had another country, another Indonesia that was basically in between there. Okay. So in order to have the supply lines going on there, it's like, we need to make sure it's,
I'm not sure why they said in between Heinessen and Iserlon at that point, though, but yeah, I guess that's a way to say that it's on the Alliance's side.
It's on the Alliance's side, right? So they're not dealing with the Empire; they're dealing with their own problems on the internal side.
But Shunkov, not only is he very proficient and capable, but he's also apparently
quite the ladies' man,
quite popular with the ladies.
Yes, and I love the little thing we got with the subs of him being the number one. What was it? Number one, Galaxy's number one playboy. Yeah. So, It's obviously a thing of where he's not trying to brag about it too much, but when he comes in, he says, "Hey, the job demands its perks," and it's like they don't even question it.
Yep,
they just kind of go, "Okay, all right, well."
One of the things that I also love about this too is that he is from imperial parents, right. So in a sense, he has his entire life probably had to deal with the fact of not being fully accepted. Right, not fully being accepted and fitting in, things like that.
In the Alliance,
right. So serving under Yang is a perfect situation because Yang trusts him like any of his other soldiers, right? Yeah. So the idea of him being that popular within the Alliance, there's this fitting kind of irony or comeuppance or whatever, where the person that was probably persecuted growing up as a kid ends up being wow, people really like me. Ladies, I just got a lipstick all over me,
because this wasn't one person. Let's just be real.
Definitely
here.
not.
No, it could have been. It could have been.
It could have been.
But I like to imagine
it could have been one very enthusiastic person, but
right?
More likely, he got swarmed, right? Like,
and it's not that like it was something where he was like resisting entirely, but it is something where he does seem to be trying to get here as quick as possible. So we're just left to assume what happened,
right? And that's less wonderful. Is more. Less is more. To the imagination. I love it.
Is wonderful. Yep. We get ourselves though the most obvious of spies, and even I was like, no, it's going to be more subtle of that, and you're like, no, like this is really like convenient. Like, and then Yang's like immediately lies about Frederica. Shunkoff immediately, as someone who understands what it would take if you were an insurgent, which is something that needs to be brought up here. He is an ex-imperial citizen in Alliance space.
Yeah.
If he is a deep spy.
Oh, Shunkoff?
Yeah. He would identify immediately what a spy looks like.
Oh, yeah.
So the fact that he was the first one to respond, I'm not saying he's a spy, but I'm saying there's a 0.2% chance that he is like the ultimate spy.
Well, that would be the ultimate spy because he grew up in the Alliance.
Well, that's my point.
Like he was born there.
Right. I think that if you would have a war last this long, you would do this. You would literally fund people to leave, go and raise a family, and have it be the thing that their next generations are going to be insurgents in the Alliance military. I just love that the one who, if anyone could be an awesome spy, it would be Shunkoff. The fact that he immediately goes, oh no, coffee on my the lipstick, and then he leaves, go out, and he's like, all right, where is she? He understood immediately what was going on.
The way I see it is that it's something where he is constantly used to people not trusting him.
Oh, sure.
His entire life he's dealt with that.
That makes sense.
So here he's like...
He's like, why would we trust you? Okay, cool story, buddy.
Yeah, that's great. And he's like, now granted, I'm not going to go against Yang. If Yang trusts him, that's fine. I'm pretty sure Yang doesn't trust him either, so I'm just going to go confirm that.
Yang lied immediately. So once the lie happened,
right.
He's like, Yang doesn't trust him. Good. Yeah. Okay, I get it. Right. I'll go out here.
I'll go confirm things. I'll go talk to Frederica and be like, hey, just sort of don't let yourself be seen for a little bit.
For just like the next few hours or so.
Next few hours. And then probably right there he went to the thing and like...
Well, after the meeting, then he's like, oh yeah, I just adjusted the settings on his bed.
Yeah, to cryo sleep.
Like, once we win the battle, we can wake him up and be like,
oh my God, I love that.
What was your mission, buddy?
Right.
I loved that whole sequence of events. Because
that was wonderful.
It fits on some level that they would try to send an intelligence operative to, basically mitigate some factors of the battle before it took place. And I think that they were maybe a little obvious. However, they had to go for the long shot. They had to go for the idea that, hey, I'm a decent officer. You're going to respect me as an officer, as a fellow officer, so you might listen to what I have to say and then put yourself into a position for a trap.
Now, and in this situation, it makes sense that there would be a lot of people that are like, whoa, hold up a minute. This is happening. No, I don't agree with this. I didn't sign up for this. This is what my superiors did, and then they leave, right?
Absolutely.
There would be tons of that going around. But the idea that in this situation, it's the most suspicious thing almost is the fact that Yang didn't be like, hey, I totally understand. Just as a precaution, matter of procedure, we are going to need to keep you in the brig, just until we can make sure that this is legit. We totally understand. Sure. This is like the fact that didn't happen.
I think it's more of the off-screen thing where we assume certain basic level of intelligence things. Yes. Like he probably wasn't allowed a weapon on the bridge.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Right, and we know that given the fact that he didn't have a weapon until... Or wait, no, that was after he was woken up from cryosleep.
Right, yeah. So if anything, I'm sure that it wasn't a thing of where he's, a kamikaze suicide assassin where he just runs in and goes, for the...
Yeah.
And of course, monologues before he shoots, rather than shooting and then yelling out his...
He should really take a page out of Fox book and just be like, I'm hyper incompetent, and just be like, I have a medical condition, and then bam. Yeah. But
yeah, in that respect, Fox is actually kind of genius. Like, oh, I'm so stupid. Blam.
Yeah.
But Fox. Okay. Yeah. Moving on to interesting characters, though. We have basically the situation though where Yang has to decide, okay, how do we engage though our own people basically in a fleet battle here. And he very quickly ruins them. Now, he did somehow divine their location.
I think that was because since the one guy that was the traitor said, they're gathering here, then basically he's like, okay, if they said they're gathering here, they would want us to go there, so therefore what are the places to ambush us from if we were to go there? Okay, cool. You know.
Right. That does seem to be the usual way that they would would prep this here.
It is one of those things where, like, because they of course can't go into too much detail because it's this massive scale show and whatnot.
It's a space opera.
Yeah. Right. It's a space opera and whatnot. I am a little bit curious as to how the fleets sneak up on each other when they do. But yeah, so they figure things out. Yang had a bit of extra information, right, that he could deduce from the information they tried to plant. And then there you go.
This is the equivalent, y'all, actually, of when people are saying leading information with regards to spoilers in shows.
Because,
where it's like, I'm not actually giving you a spoiler. I'm just really excited about this thing with this character. I'm like, well, that tells me one of three things now.
Yeah, like in the same way that it was blatantly obvious to all of the, like, to Yang and to Schoenkopf and everybody that the person was, like, not what he seemed kind of a thing. That's about how obvious it is when it's the not spoilers, but, you know.
Yeah. It's just something that's funny after it's been, almost 4 years of the channel. We're like, kind of used to that at this point. But we got to see tactics played out in real time with regards to the fight.
Yes.
And this is something that I have been missing. Most of the time when we've been seeing the battles in the recent parts of the show, they have been wholly, I would say, strategical, meaning that there was no moment by moment kind of changes within the battle. A strategy was implemented on both sides, and one side was just better. They win the battle.
And oftentimes it would be something where, rather than going too in depth into the details, they would give some, like, base details, but it would also go with this notion that someone on one of the sides was incompetent in some way and messed up, and that's why this happened. The only kind of incompetence, sort of, in this situation was the fact that Yang didn't fall for the ploy, so because of that, he was able to get some information on them, right?
Which isn't really incompetence on the side of the fleet. It's the incompetence on the side of the Bagdash. And that's exciting then, because then we realize, there's two levels of competence we can put towards the enemy commander, Lagrange. He not only had a trap that was set up, but he also fought to the point where they only had a few dozen ships, which is sickeningly sad if you think about it. Because the way they've discussed fleets up until now has been that they number in the thousands of ships.
Yeah.
But when you go down from thousands to dozens of ships,
that's like less than 1%.
It's to like, the point where you lost the battle hours ago. You lost the battle thousands of ships ago, but you refuse to give up because you're insane, because you do not have any value for your life or the lives of the other people here.
That was the big thing for me, is that it wasn't the fact that he, say, shot himself. Because that's like, okay, he's a zealot.
At this point, that makes sense. But
he doesn't want to give up information or
I'm just surprised no one stopped him. That's my thing, is that on the bridge, like,
sure,
what if they're like, no, you deserve worse, like a coup d'etat within the coup d'etat, you know?
But the fact that he did that once it was so far lost, he didn't do that once it was, like, mostly lost, like where
that was in
where
the
it
movie,
wasn't able
remember?
To be changed, right? Like it
in
was like
no,
only a few dozen ships left. Everyone else he made die, right? Before then, not even owning up really to his decision, right? So it was like, man.
Now, this is something where we got to see a slaughter, if you will, of members of the Alliance. They still are members of the Alliance, but this new kind of coup d'etat,
National Salvation Military Council or whatever.
That's still a lot of lives lost. Then we shift focus and we go to Heinessen, and we find out that freaking Jessica badass bitch Edwards, like she is so freaking boss, is standing up is standing up to a small army of people with guns, and then basically tells them off about how they are rebirthing an aspect of what made the Empire so horrible and why we rebelled from them in the first place. While they're literally doing the, like, denounce your sect of beliefs or what have you, or we will shoot you, you know?
And now, granted, they hadn't killed anyone at that point, and that at least was like, okay, at least there's that. Because, like, looking for anything in how, like, effed the situation is, right? Like, it's like, hey, at least they're doing that. But, like, it's one of those things, it's the one thing where sometimes my immersion is broken a little bit, but it goes with the themes of the show, so it works really well, is... And for other reasons too, is when people are assigned to certain positions and the person in authority over them believes they will do good, they will do a good job, right? You know, and that's why they assign them to it. But then they turn out to be like the worst person ever for it.
Well, maybe they weren't actually the worst person for it. It's just this person had never been in this position before.
Definitely. And on top of that, one of the reasons why I think this works really well is that Greenhill is already in a situation where he kind of doesn't really want to be associated with these people. He's more of trying to just do damage control on what they're doing. Right. So he's already dealing with essentially fanatics, right? So this is the distillation of the fanatics from within the military. And then he has to work from within those fanatics and then try and tell them, please don't be fanatical.
Please be restrained.
Please be restrained. And it doesn't work. Like, big surprise there, right? Like, you know, so it's not necessarily something where Greenhill will be too surprised. He will definitely be disappointed, but it'll be more of like a thing of like,
well, we get to
I had a feeling this might happen.
Well, no, we got to see his reaction. We got to see his literal reaction after that, and
right, and oh
wait,
boy,
hold on. The subs are moving, but the footage isn't. Let me go to that spot there. Yeah, he's basically shocked that that this whole thing happened.
Oh, who was it before that said I'll bet he's weeping in his grave? Was that actually Greenhill, or was that someone else? In that earlier episode, because that would be and it totally might not be, right? Especially since Greenhill ends up doing this in the future, right?
Oh, when they show the statue looking on at
and it's I'll bet he's weeping in his grave, right? The fact that then if that is Greenhill, that's even more meaning, because he said that, and then here almost like it's some kind of burnt offering, right? And the statue's right there. It's like, oh man, like
I think you're onto something
because
there.
And that's why I love stuff like this when it happens, because even though there's the question in my mind of like, oh come on, like how, like this person's an absolute monster, how did no one know that they were that kind of a person? Things like this happen in war and stuff, and like, you know,
and not only that, things like this happen in revolutions. Regardless of which side has the better moral argument or the better ethical argument or what have you,
heads will roll.
Lots of people without weapons. This reminds me of the line from V for Vendetta. Well, what happens when people with guns people without guns stand up to people with guns?
Well, if you outnumber them 6-1 or more,
you outnumber them.
No, I know. I was just using that as a reference.
Right.
It's more like 50-1.
50-1, maybe. Maybe a little bit less, but yeah.
But that's fantastic. You have wonderful, high-powered sci-fi weapons and stuff. There's 200,000 of them. Like that's a very big number. That is a very big number. Like if not for the fact that they had like the tanks and the bazookas and things like that, it almost wouldn't have mattered, right? Because like
there's a very I have only been in crowds of like ridiculous sizes, I would say twice in my life, like really big crowds. And one of the things that you get swelled up in, and I'm really impressed with this show doing this, is how quickly you can get everyone chanting the same thing. Now, this is something that I really liked the episode did. They had them just screaming, "Get out! Get out! Get out!" And it didn't just go for a little bit.
No, it was like this constantly building thing while the violence escalated and everything.
And everything.
Yeah.
Now, there's going to be a good large percentage of people that never saw a soldier hold a gun. Like, they never even saw it in the crowd. So they're in the middle of this crowd, hearing the booming roar of maybe not even like 30% of them yelling, "Get out."
Right.
But then as it keeps going, it starts to resound somewhere within them, and the mob mentality takes over, and they
50
all
Frenchmen can't be wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
It gets builds bigger and bigger. This is the case for regardless what belief you have regarding the mob or what have you.
Well,
it just happens. We are social creatures, and there is a powerfully like moving thing when you see a crowd of people. And I love the way they did this, because this is an older show, so you're limited in the type of visuals you can do when you show a large number of people. You can't go in depth into their faces and all their.
But the way it was just
stuff.
like a sea,
like a sea of shadowy, they do kind of the purple look for the citizens, and then the black kind
uniforms,
of uniforms and gray for the soldiers, and then they basically just pour out of the building. And and it gives me chills, because there are so many times in history where this has happened, where a small group of people, either against the mob or fuel the mob, instigate a movement, and enough people get into the energy of it, and they might not even be 100% in the whole thing there, but there's an awe and a terror of being in the crowd, but you just know, I'm with the crowd.
It becomes self-sustaining. Because like, okay, let's say you're one person, right, in this massive crowd, right? And all of a sudden, like even if you haven't, like, because massive area, whatever, you don't know what's happened in the actual, like, center of the stadium, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, people are shooting, right? And people are picking up guns and all this stuff. You get scared. And for your survival, you survive best in groups, right? You look like the one group, maybe, because you were in as a part of that group, so you don't want to risk the idea that you could get labeled as that group if you try and leave that group by the other side, right? And to say nothing of what the group would say if they knew that you were trying to go against them. But then there's also the idea of, well, if this is happening with this many people, it must be happening for a good reason, right?
Your fight or flight instinct will kick in, and yet there's probably going to be a moment where maybe enough people in the group didn't decide to flight. They didn't decide flight. They decided fight. And you kind of go, oh, okay. Well, then maybe I can do something about this. And it's compounded so much more so if you came here with already the belief kind of set in your mind. And a lot of them did. This is something where there was a military coup d'etat. They knew, like, holy crap, this is not okay.
They literally read out a list of, like, totalitarian, like, this is our regime that we will establish if you're not with us, you're against us, and you will be dealt with accordingly.
What is free speech? So these people knew, like,
this is a problem.
Well, not only this is a problem, but we could get our lives put in danger by coming out here. But what I liked also that they brought up here on the philosophical discussion here is that they used the what was his name? Was it Bronze that they sent out there? Who was the guy that was sent to get order, basically? Then disperse them as ones. Captain.
They might not have said his name. I think they did.
Well, it's this blonde bloke here. We're not given his name in the... Oh, wait, maybe we were actually here. Hold on. Captain Christian.
Jesus.
Wow. Well, there's a...
Wow.
I wonder what could be said about that.
Deus Vult. Like...
Yeah. So, he basically takes a very zealous approach to this. And that is that, you spout this rhetoric, but you don't actually believe it under the threat of death, which is funny, because I want to bring this up here. This is the best way for Captain Christian actually to rile the entire group to violence. But here's what's fascinating is that when he confronted a bunch of the people there, none of them, out of fear for their own survival, actually, recanted their beliefs or what have you. You could bring the religion kind of thing to this, and this is the crusader coming in and being like, recant your beliefs or we will kill you.
Right.
And then it's the person being like, no,
I have a family. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Back.
Well, right. But it's again a thing of where he's not actually like going against his beliefs or what have you. He's just pleading for his life.
Right.
Being like, yes, of course I'm scared. Yeah. Of course I'm scared.
Right.
But I'm not scared for my life. I'm scared for them.
And
because it's like, no, please, they need me. Like, I need, like, don't kill me.
And anytime I see in a story a character like championing the might makes right kind of principle, I'm like, oh boy, you are going to get eaten alive.
Yeah.
Because, okay,
because there's so much out there that's stronger than you.
There will be a pendulum swing at some point. And it will rip you to shreds.
Yeah.
Like,
it's quite fascinating how hypocritical the might is right kind of decision ends up being. Because there is always the idea that, yes, you need to basically prepare yourselves to be ready to defend against those with a might is right principle.
Sure.
So you need laws in place basically to allow for this kind of protest.
Yep.
You need to basically have that, freedom of speech, basically.
Because without that, well, they'll do it anyways, and then this happens,
Right. Yeah. So when the might is right principle kind of comes up and you're, okay. Yeah, sure. So that needs to be self-sustained, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to continually justify your enlightening, if you will, your strengthening of yourself in order to basically always cover for the fact that this can't last forever.
There's a line from a favorite video game villain of mine that says an alliance based on like terror, based on mutual destruction or something like that.
No, it's an alliance built on hatred is a fragile.
An alliance built on hatred is a fragile alliance at best.
Yeah. And there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I am so upset though that Jessica's dead. She might not be. Again, we've said this a million times, but
she might not be. But if she is, I'm actually I'm actually a little bit excited. Here's why. Because what she did here, if she is dead, we'll make her a martyr, right? She will essentially, they will be still chanting her name of the 200 or 180,000 people that remember this event. They are going to spread that, right? They're going to spread that everywhere.
Now, okay.
And that's what I think is going to be one of the things that's going to make it even harder for Yang to clean up afterwards. Because he's going to have a bunch of people that are riled up into a frenzy.
Yep.
And then what does he do?
Right. So I have two things that I feel like predictions-wise we can base off of this. Is that the seeds of division within the Empire, the Alliance, are ones that will carry beyond the coup d'etat because of this.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing. If Yang gives... What would that be? Clemency, basically? Like he gives...
to the people that did the coup?
He gives pardons, basically, to specific people.
Right, because what do you do once the Empire and the Alliance go back at each other's
you don't
throats?
just go and purge and kill everyone.
Right, because then you'll get killed by the Empire.
Well, no, not only will you get killed by the Empire, you will destabilize your own base of people. Your nation will fall apart. Like, this is something that's very kind of crazy to bring up because, we've had a civil war in our past, the U.S.
Yes.
And there's still all kinds of, not really as much, but there's still a lot of animosity that can be kind of whispered about regarding that whole thing. It was 150 years ago. That's 150 years ago.
Right.
But what about 5 years after?
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's something that only lasts, like, this is only going to last a couple months, maybe at most. Like, this is not going to be around for a while. Like the Bagdash was saying. It's this is basically over.
Yeah.
But Trunit. I wanted to bring up Trunit here. There were two things that I wanted to say in the episode's reaction, but I saved them for here. And that is that Trunit definitely has his hands in the intelligence division.
Yeah.
Now, what's exciting is that they were saying the intelligence division, they said it twice, I think, has been really like not up to snuff these. And it's like, well, wait a minute. That's only one incident that we've seen. So what are the other incidents of that?
Right.
So I think TrueKnit is hidden effectively because he has people in the intelligence community that they're keeping him hidden. But that means in some ways that it kind of adds more to my theory that TrueKnit wanted this to happen. And not only that, he kind of helped orchestrate it happen.
And who knows? And one of the other things with, like, you know, when people seem like the wrong people put to a job, there's also the idea of, is there someone else that helped orchestrate that to happen?
Right.
There's the possibility, even though this specific thing might not have TrueKnit's hand in it.
Right.
That TrueKnit could have helped cause something like this so that the people would be riled up. And then when he takes back over, they'll give him ultimate power because they're, you know, all riled up.
Right. And I very much am looking forward to the day where TrueKnit basically takes advantage of Jessica Edwards' death.
Yeah. Oh, and that's going to be so
literally
dirty.
like does the the most disgusting thing I can imagine. Like this is how I imagine it. They'll make flags, and posters, and t-shirts, and mugs.
Yep.
And like literally like
remember her,
fight for her,
and
this is what she would have wanted,
and that will piss off Yang so much. Like that's because
I hate when politicians use dead people to enforce like some kind of belief thing on their own ideals.
And one of the things that I've been really wanting to see here, because with the Empire, it's something where in its opulence it will crumble, right?
Yes.
With the Alliance, because of how it's been set up, I want to see something where it can be a bit more like sort of social commentary kind of, because with the Empire, it's not as much social commentary because it's the idea of like, okay, it's this
it's an archaic way.
It's exactly.
It doesn't really have as much parallel in the
it has aesthetic for the purposes of the story, but not as much tie back to the like our present day kind of.
Okay.
Whereas like the Alliance is more like based on like more present day like nations and things like that, right?
Okay, sure.
So if we have something where the Alliance goes into dark territory, like really dark territory, then that feels a bit more spicy. Yeah,
I know what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, so that all is going down, and we've got Yang headed for Heinessen, and there is no mobile force of the NSMC to stop him.
Yep.
Which means we're going to be faced with one of the things that I had been predicting, I don't know, way back since the beginning of the show, was that what happens to the planets when they don't have a fleet to defend them? And then we saw the ring defense system that I want to bring up. Wasn't that something that was specifically around Heinessen? Or was that something that was around Odin?
Yeah. No, it was around Heinessen, and then the Imperial place got it through the Fejon, right? Even though it was an Alliance defense system. So,
which means that we are going to have a position now where Heinessen's defenses on a military level against the what have you are going to be activated.
The invading fleet,
Right. And yet, if they attack the defenses, what happens when just flying projectiles just start coming down on the planet constantly?
And this is something that I'm really excited to see, because with Yang is not the kind. Yang is so like anti-war, right? That he's not the kind of person that would start scorching planets, right?
Oh God, no,
definitely not.
No, of course not.
Right? That if that were to happen in the story, you would more expect that to be someone that's fighting Yang, kind of a thing, and right. But the idea that in this situation, because the defense system will be online probably, and it will probably be killing tons of people in his fleet and stuff, he will need to disable it or he'll need to do something. And there will be consequences to that.
I fully expect what they'll do is they'll be in a standoff because the planet will be kind of held hostage. It's going to be a constant back and forth conversation wise between Greenhill and Yang, and Frederica is going to try and be like reason with him, like you are not this kind of person. But meanwhile, Yang's going to have to try and send a sneaky, like small force or what have you that'll land on the planet.
Probably Shonkov will be one of them.
Yeah, Shonkov. I assume that there will be some other people in there that will be really good practical, people as well. But I think we're headed to that point though, where because they foreshadowed, I think, a little bit more this episode, was that Julian almost became a murderer. He almost became a killer here.
Yep.
Now, he was going to be protecting his friend,
And maybe this was something that they pre-planned with Yang and whatnot. Like that is very much a possibility since Yang gave him the gun and all that stuff.
Oh, you think that he basically gave Bagdash the gun so that when he tries to point it at him, maybe
Julian would already be there.
Julian would already be there, and it would showcase to him that he's not scared of Bagdash. Like that would be some next level.
Like they didn't
there.
say that, so it doesn't have to be that. But but
I think the way that Julian reacted, he wasn't in on anything.
Yeah.
No, because he was genuinely terrified, like that he was potentially going to lose Yang there. So I think this could be the thing though, where Julian ends up.
Oh, being one of the people going in.
One of the people going in.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
And it's not a thing of where, Yang's basically able to stop him. Like, Yang could basically be like, no, that's not cool. But then it could be like, well, maybe there's some emotional reason or what have you.
Sure.
Or there's something where it's like, yeah, I don't know.
One of the things I'm also curious to see if they ever end up getting into. Let's say it's a standoff, right?
Right.
And Yang's not attacking because there's the defense system and all that stuff.
You don't attack a walled city.
You don't attack a walled city.
Yeah.
But there were how many billions of people on the planet?
Yeah, they said They said 1 billion, I think.
Yeah, it was 1 billion or 5 billion or something like that. It was in the billion number, right?
I can go in.
And at that point, it almost doesn't matter how many billions, right? Like it's just you don't keep that many people like suppressed when they don't want to be. There is no number of soldiers practically that would be enough, right? There's a billion citizens on Heinessen alone.
Gotcha.
So what happens if it gets to a situation where the citizens are revolting to try and overthrow the city or the planet, right?
Right.
But because they're civilians, they are dying en masse, 10 to 15 times the amount of other people that are dying.
What I would assume is that Green Hill would basically go full on bunker mode, and basically the citizens would have no way of getting into many of the compounds. And then it would be a thing of where, yes, a lot of soldiers outside died, but they're no longer engaging with the civilians. The civilians are trying to find a way to, enter in. Or
Potentially.
Like
Yeah. But if it gets into that situation, would there come a point where Yang basically, in order to save as many people as possible, he can't just wait and lay siege to the city because so many civilians are dying on the inside?
Oh, so he needs to go in.
And he needs to rescue the people of Heinessen. Like there are so many ways that this could go so badly, but where it's the least bad situation out of this, and to have it be something where Yang is doing something that he absolutely wouldn't want to do, that would definitely seem like a dictator move for other people and stuff.
Well, if he does something after that, that's
right, exactly.
That's where the dictator stuff comes.
But even if they don't go into that area, if it's just Yang sort of being close to that line where people that don't know him would be wondering if he's going to cross it, like there's so much juicy stuff that they can get into there. So. Yeah.
But y'all, this is escalating so quickly, and I kind of like how we're shifting focus back and forth between Empire and Alliance here, which means that we might go an episode break on this whole chaotic factor here while it's Yang traveling to Heinessen. And then the episode we pick them up will be like 2 episodes from now where they're just arriving there. But holy crap, I am so in this show. The pacing is insane. The amount of things happening, the amount of little bits of internal continuity amongst this ridiculously large cast, and then also them just having moments of levity.
Right.
I still got to shout out again the Von Hugh moment where he breaks through the middle and he's just like, enemies everywhere. I don't even have to aim, just fire. I'm like, dude, you're a little bit isolated. Yeah. Continue the pass. Go right through the fleets. Don't stop to engage here. But he's having so much fun. I think that's something that space operas in general don't tend to do, is let their characters have fun doing what they're doing. And so when you see it happen, you think, oh, it's a breath of fresh air. You're like, wait, but thousands of people are dying. But okay, he's having a good time. All right.
My personal shout out is Oh, I just set his bed to cryo-sleep.
Yeah.
Like, where it's like...
Yeah, those are the two best moments for levity, for sure.
It reminds me of, like, if any of y'all have seen the movie Serenity, where it's like, trap.
Yeah.
So, you know, when do we head in? Wait, but what about the part where it's a trap? Oh, no, it's fine, you know?
Yeah.
That was great.
It's those little bits of dialogue in an anime that is quite snappy with its dialogue.
Yes.
So it sometimes almost lends to better delivery on the comedy, because we're like, because we're just barely keeping up with the flow of the conversation. And then they're like, oh yeah, set his bed to cryo sleep. And then you just go on with it. And you're like, wait, they did that.
And then it's like, all right, now let's get back to, you know, the government's like slaughtering thousands of people, you know, like from comedy to serious dark stuff.
Right. It in some ways showcases also how unified in a very cool way.
Yes.
How Yang's crew is compared to Green Hill's.
Yep.
In that the minute they leave the council kind of group area, they just do the dumbest stuff, basically.
Yep.
So that's another little parallel there that's pretty cool. So, y'all, this was quite the episode, quite the stuff to discuss and everything. So thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. So you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and you can chat with Jacob about his sci-fi novel that he wrote.
Yep, I wrote a sci-fi. I mean, come on, you know about it. It's Battle Lines. It's awesome. It's on Amazon. Link in the description. Go get it.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see it there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.